You've got questions about what the new normal looks like, so do I. We're going to get them answered right now. Joining me today is my guest, Tiija Berquist, Sales Manager for Office Edge and Legal Edge. Good morning, Tiija.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join me and kind of update us on my ongoing series of what does the new normal look like, because it doesn't look like the old normal. Tell us a little bit, Office Edge, executive offices, what does that mean and where can people find you geographically?
Sure. So in regards to Office Edge, so we're a South Florida family owned and operated company. We have 5 locations in South Florida, 1 in Palm Beach County in Boca, 2 in Broward, and 2 in Miami-Dade. And basically what we are, we're an executive office and virtual business solution provider. So we provide turnkey offices, and pretty much what that means is that they are fully furnished. They come with internet, high-speed internet, full receptionist services, full staff. It's basically like you're walking into an already established office suite. And then when you get your key and you open your office, it's furnished, it's ready to go. All you have to do is plug in and start. We also provide what are called virtual business solutions. So that can be anything from a professional mailing address for people who want to work from home and their business headquarters is at home, but they don't want to advertise their home address for personal reasons or whatever. And that can go all the way up to basically an address, full receptionist services. So you don't need to answer your phones. We can do all that screening for you and be the intermediary. Conference room time, virtual administrative support, virtual paralegal support, kind of provide you with staff without you actually having to have an office and pay the overhead costs.
So somebody, professional services, for example, could just say, all I have to focus on is the revenue generating parts of my business, and pretty much all the administrative part you guys take care of. Did I read that right?
Correct. It's correct. Our goal is for our clients to be able to go home at the end of the day and spend time with their families and not have to feel like they have to be in the office longer than they need to, or when they do get home, not have to feel like they need to be torn between work and family. We can take the minutia and the stuff that isn't really making you money and take that off your hands so that when you are working, it's billable hours, and then you can actually go home and have a bit of a life and do things that you like to do.
So most people are familiar with different outsourcing models, but this outsourcing happens in their Office Edge location. Mm-hmm. And so it's outsourced, but it's insourced. You can walk over and talk to somebody who's doing those things for you. They're not in a call center overseas or something.
Correct. And we do get questions like that a lot of times when people ask, is this a call center? Is, so-and-so actually in the office? And, all of the ladies are in their respective offices. So if there's any work that you're providing to us to do, whether if you're emailing it to us or you mail it or come in and you need us to do it, we're doing it right then, right there in the office. We're answering your phones. We're actually, in Sunrise or in Fort Lauderdale. So we're not a Dallas-based call center who's answering calls for a company in Florida. We're actually here. We know what's going on. And, if you want to come in and see us, you can come in and see us.
Awesome. So let's talk about the shape of the new normal. What I'm hearing from a variety of people is, wait a minute, this remote workers or working from home or working from whatever satellite you want to define is working out fine. And they're finding themselves questioning how much commercial real estate they owned or were leasing. And also, I think at the same time, you have some people who had longer commutes saying, I like to be in an office environment. I'd like to have a conference room, but I only need it once a week or twice a month. Do I really need to drive an hour and a half to go there? Are you seeing that kind of demand of people questioning how much square footage they had and what kind of commute they had?
Yes. we're actually seeing a lot more of people who had larger spaces and have employees. And obviously, since the employees had been forced to work remotely, the companies had started to see that that wasn't really as problematic as they thought it was going to be initially. And that
Right. They said it couldn't be done, but then they had to get it done. They had to.
exactly. Exactly. So they're looking at alternative solutions. And case in point, we did have one client that we're trying to work with right now, whether they land with us or whether they land with another company. We're really helping to guide them through this process because it's new for them. They downsized from 16 people to 6, but they had a 16-person suite. So we're trying to figure out some alternatives for them so that their workers can continue to really work remotely, but come in when they need to meet with clients, or come in when they need to just get out of the house for a little bit, and kind of showing them the savings that they can get. But we are getting a lot of people that are they don't really know this industry. It's very new to them, and they may not be ready to bite the bullet, but they're asking a lot of questions and they want to know a lot of information. So really part of our job is to also educate people. And I have zero problems taking calls a lot of times and telling them what the benefits are and kind of navigating them through this process. Whether they land with us or not, I would rather somebody just make a decision that's best for them than, get a client who ends up unhappy.
I understand. Look, part of most people's jobs is education,
Mhm.
right? And the market is changing radically right now. The real estate market, the job market, the workspace. People are questioning all the assumptions that have been in place for literally decades, many decades. They're questioning everything. And I think what's interesting about Office Edge is how much it provides on demand. So
Yeah.
you pay for exactly what you need when you need it. And if that was help getting a campaign out, you have the help on demand in the office, and then there's no overhead anymore. And if you need a conference room, you can have a conference room. And if you need video conferencing beyond what we're doing with just Zoom, you have higher end video conferencing available, or AV services. Before the old model, everyone had to invest in all of that themselves. And now technology changes all the time. People have to say, do I want to buy technology, or do I just want to use it and let someone else update it and maintain it and do the security on it, et cetera, et cetera? I mean, you find people asking about that?
100%. And I think that the biggest thing with this industry and why it's so beneficial right now in this moment that we're living in is flexibility. Like you said, we have all of the services that anybody would need. They're already ready to go. So like you don't have to pay the overhead costs as you would if you were in traditional real estate. We have a high volume printer copier that does everything from booklets to mailers, 120 scans a minute. We have that access at your fingertips.
Wow.
So that you don't have to get into a 3 to 5 year lease for the equipment. We have the AV equipment, and a lot of people think that if they want to come in and use a conference room, that they have to have some kind of a contracted service with us, and that's not the case. We do have guest rates for people who maybe they're totally fine working at home, but all of a sudden they realize, oh, wow, I need a space for 4 people and I don't have access to that. And they'll call us and say, is there any way I can come in and use your conference room? Sure. And we can do it just on an a la carte basis, a one-time opportunity. And a lot of times those clients actually end up using us over and over again. And then they say, oh, well, you can do this, that, and the other also. Okay, great. So yes, a lot of it is very on demand, and it's like you said, you pay for what you use. Our administrative support, it's pay per minute. So if you use 32 minutes, you're paying for 32 minutes, whereas some other providers do them in 6-minute, 15-minute intervals.
Right, 1 hour,
So
whatever.
7
Right.
minutes, you're paying for 15.
Right. Cool. Let's talk about locations. You mentioned 5 locations. You're kind of strategic about where you locate. You always seem to end up near a courthouse. Do you have a particular specialty with attorneys? But I know you have people from all over the place, but talk to me about those locations.
Sure. So attorneys and the legal field is definitely our niche. To the point we have a sister company called Legal Edge Services. And what Legal Edge does is it provides on-demand support for attorneys. We have paralegals at all of our locations. They're certified paralegals. We have certified court reporters, notaries at every location as well. So we can provide digital court reporting throughout the Tri-County area. We can do everything from e-filing, corporate incorporation, transcription, translation, courier services. Basically, you name it, we can do it in regards to legal assistance. And again, it's all the cost for everything is paid per minute with paralegal and legal assistance. And then the court reporting, we can really work and be flexible with that. It's pretty much a pay per appearance. So if you need a court reporter for 10 hours, you're not paying for 10 hours of time. You're paying just one basic flat rate fee. We also, do a lot of mediation support. A lot of mediators really need two spaces. They're mediating between groups of people who may not be getting along. They don't always want in the same room.
You got to separate them for a little bit.
Exactly. So one of the things that we noticed is that in this industry, there really weren't any other providers that were providing cost-effective mediation support. They were really charging mediators for two spaces, which is a little unfair because that's what their business needs in order to operate. So we kind of developed a very inexpensive flat rate that includes a room and a breakout room. And they actually end up paying almost less than an attorney would if they needed a deposition or something. So because of that, really the mediation support side of our business has grown, which is why most of our locations, like you said, are near courthouses. They're in very high business areas, for instance, Brickell Avenue, downtown Fort Lauderdale, right off of Las Olas, Boca, just off of 95, Bike Glades Road. It's very central to West Palm or even east. So we've kind of picked locations where people's businesses are, but then where it also behooves them to maybe have 2 or 3 different addresses for marketing purposes so that they can pull from very populated business areas. So for instance, if somebody has a business in Sunrise, which is the office that I'm at now, they may want to have a separate business address in Brickell or in Fort Lauderdale so they can be searchable. So we want to make sure that we have addresses in those locations that people are really searching for business as well.
So they could have the admin support, everything from reception that answers the phone as their business, right? It's not a generic number. They have a specific, their own number. Right. But you guys provided from reception to true secretarial to legal secretary, right? Qualified legal aid. And they could have multiple mailing addresses, which, for marketing, we like to have multiple physical addresses, for SEO and stuff. So that's handy. Let me ask you something. Since we're kind of under the umbrella of the new normal, things are starting to open up. People are saying, okay, I've got to get back into some kind of office. I have to see some clients. They're thirsting for more face-to-face, and we're all trying to figure that out. An executive office place, so I've got neighbors who also have space there, and my guest and their guest, and so now there's all this traffic. What kind of procedures do you have in place to mitigate risk? I'll put it to you that way, or people's concerns about coronavirus or a second wave.
Sure. So I think too, one of the things with Office Edge and why we haven't had to change so much, we're what's called a boutique provider. So our services really are bread and butter. We have, I would say Gables is probably our largest office with 22 private offices in it. A lot of other executive office locations or companies may have 50 to 90 offices.
Yeah, I've been in others that are really dense.
Yes, exactly. So they're very high traffic. we're very low traffic naturally due to the number of offices that we have in our locations. And one of the pre-qualifying questions that we ask people when they're searching for office space with us is how high traffic is your business? You know, if we have a business that's coming in that says, I'm doing interviews all day long, it raises a red flag for us naturally prior to the coronavirus, because we didn't want a revolving door of people coming in. We really pride ourselves for having a quiet professional space, low traffic, where our clients can come in, they can work, they're not getting distracted. So it actually worked out and benefited us.
Right.
Because we didn't have so many changes in regards to that. That being said, the changes that we did have to make and that we are implementing, conference rooms, were removing chairs. So whereas we would have a large conference room that could hold 12 to 15 people, we're really trying to cut that size in half so that people don't feel like they have to sit on top of each other. You know,
Just lower the density in those spaces.
Lower the density, exactly. You know, we're asking that our clients and our clients wear masks in common areas until we're told otherwise. Inside their own office, if they want to have a mask on, that's up to them. But because that is their own space, and they have the door shut, that's their choice. Most of our clients don't have the doors open because, again, we really try to keep the volume down,
right, the noise
as well. Yes. And obviously cleaning procedures. You know, I'm in one of our conference rooms now, so as soon as I leave, everything is going to be cleaned. It's going to be sanitized. We've got touchless hand sanitizer in all of our conference rooms as well. We make sure that any mail that's coming in is sprayed down with sanitizer, and everything's just very clean. We do have a cleaning company that comes in right now every day to make sure that everything stays clean. You know, we've removed rugs where maybe dirt can gather. We've spaced out chairs in the lobby. And we're looking at also staggering our reservations. So we want to make sure that not all of our conference rooms, especially in our locations that Sunrise is a little larger, in our locations that might be a little bit smaller, we want to stagger those reservations so people don't feel like there's large groups so close to each other as well. So we're really just kind of trying to look at what's going to make our clients feel comfortable and make sure that we implement those changes to those things. You know, we also have in our admin, we basically have a sign on the door that just says, please knock, because in the back admin area, it's difficult to have a mask on and answering phones. So the ladies probably don't have masks on when they're back in admin. So we kind of have a please knock sign so that the clients know that they can get our attention, but they don't have to walk in and feel uncomfortable. Plus, we're also trying to keep the traffic minimal so that the staff isn't getting sick and having to not be there.
Right, that doesn't help anyone. All right. Well, excellent, Tiija. Thank you so much for joining us, updating us on services that you offer that I think really represent the future of working. This sort of everything on demand model, I think is going to explode right now. So you are in the right place at the right time. And thank you for taking your time to join me. If people want to find you, officeedge.com.
Yep.
Okay. We'll make that magically appear underneath you for a while. And again, thank you so much for your time, Tiija. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.